What's up you guys? Welcome to another stop to the road to Luigi's Mansion 3, where today we're gonna rank the 6 mansions featured in Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, or as the Europeans call it, Luigi's Mansion 2. My name is JuniorAlexanderLeiva, aka Mr. Awesome, and I'll be your chauffeur and tour guide for the rest of this Luigi's Mansion 3 journey. So there's 6 mansions in Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, and I'll be honest with you, one of these mansions really doesn't count, but I'm just gonna throw it on this list because it's a mansion and it kind of counts. So number 6 is a Scarescraper, at the very bottom of the list. It's not a bad mansion by any means. It's a multiplayer mansion, so you have to have friends to be in this mansion. And if you don't have friends that don't have a 3DS, you can't really access this mansion unless you go online, but there is no one online nowadays, so it's not really worth being in this mansion for. There's nothing really too crazy that happens in this mansion. This mansion plays it pretty safe. It's fun because it's multiplayer. I wish I could experience it now as a grown adult, because I used to play the multiplayer aspect of Luigi's Mansion back in the day, but I don't really remember about it, so I do remember it having a good time with my friends and saving each other and doing co-op stuff, but it's not really that memorable. This mansion can be endless for endless fun, or it can have 25 floors with the last floor having a boss, which the boss himself is not really a big deal, so yeah. At number 5 we have Old Clockworks. So this mansion is easily forgettable. For some reason, when I try to think back about this mansion, it is easily forgettable. When I had to write down this list, I had to go on the Mario Wiki in order to remember it. So I gotta say, according to the Mario Wiki, and not to my failing memory, this mansion has a lot of gears and clocks. It's obviously Clockwork theme. And what I do remember is that this mansion doesn't really bring anything new to the table as compared to everything else. If anything, the new things that stuck around is the mummies. The mummies were a thing. I'll just be honest. This mansion just felt like a fetch quest. All you really had to do is get the clock hands and the gears in order to fight the boss, and this could have all easily been avoided if EGOT just made a contraption to work on the clock. This mansion could have easily been skipped in the story. You really didn't have to go through it. I don't remember if you had to save Toads or not. If anything, the only thing going for this mansion is the boss fight. The boss fight is time themed, it's clock themed. It's a really cool boss, don't get me wrong. I really like this boss. It's a boss rush mode with 12 phases, and it's a really good time. I gotta say that. It's a really good time, and it's really good for you in this game to come back and replay this boss at least 2 times. Like I said before, the boss is the only reason to come back to this mansion. This is an easily forgettable mansion. If anything, the Scarescraper is a more replayable mansion than this one. The only reason why this one's above the Scarescraper is because the limitations the Scarescraper has with in real life situations, such as online and having physical friends with 3DSs. Alright, so at number 4 we have the Secret Mine. It's a snowy mansion. If anything, it's not really a mansion. It's a chalet, and underneath is a mine, a secret mine. So you really couldn't tell that there's a mine underneath this chalet. It's a super short mansion, which I am very thankful for. It has a few missions and a very cool boss. No pun intended either. A very cool boss. The ice boss is I really did enjoy that boss fight. Despite the fact it's not really a mansion, I found it a lot more enjoyable to go through as opposed to Clockworks Tower. Dealing with Toad and stuff, it was more bearable. There's a small boss rush mode that adds a bit of a challenge to this mansion, you know, because they lock the door with their paranormal chains, and I have to say that this mansion isn't half bad. You know, I like the theme a lot. Despite the fact it's not really a mansion, I really enjoyed the theme. The boss in this mansion can easily be the best in the game. It's very challenging. Before we move on, I know I might get comments saying, "Oh, Mr. Awesome, why don't you script your videos?" I do. But I don't like reading straight from the script because I don't want to sound like a robot. So, if you feel like I'm stopping and stuttering and saying all this stuff, it's because I want to be as genuine as possible in these videos. At number 3, we have Gloomy Manor. So Gloomy Manor is a very good starter mansion. A really good starter mansion, in fact, because it's more of a tutorial mansion. It teaches you the ropes of how to play Luigi's Mansion. It gives you the poltergust. It gives you the strobe bulb. It gives you the night light thingy thing. If anything, this mansion is very similar to the mansion from Luigi's Mansion. That's a lot of mansions I'm saying in this video. It's much smaller in comparison to that original mansion, but I gotta say it has 3 floors in the basement. That's what the other mansion had to offer as well. Granted, there was a roof, but this one has an aquarium, so this mansion, it plays it safe for the most part. In comparison to the other mansions in this game, it plays it very safe, and that's not a bad thing at all. It's really not a bad thing. It could have not played it safe like old Clockworks, and it could have been trash like old Clockworks, but it's not. The music in this mansion gives off a very Luigi's Mansion type of vibe. It kind of felt like I was playing a sequel of Luigi's Mansion, which the whole point of this game is being a sequel to Luigi's Mansion. And I have to say, the boss in this mansion feels really unique, and it's a fresh take on how to do bosses. I gotta say, this mansion as a whole sets the right tone and expectation for the rest of the game. It introduces the missions, and introduces you how to play, so it sets you on the right track for your Luigi's Mansion 2 journey. Alright, so at number 2, we have the Haunted Towers. This mansion feels like a greenhouse. It has a huge tree growing in the middle of it. In fact, this mansion was built around that tree. You can go inside the tree, do your little tree stuff, fight your boss and all that. This is the tallest mansion in the game with 6 floors in the basement. And I mean, why not? Because this mansion has a whole goddamn tree in the middle. This particular mansion showed you how to use the balloon mechanic. And honestly, you really don't use the balloon mechanic outside of this mansion. You do, but not as much as here. But it's a really cool mechanic because it teaches you that your poltergust can do more things than just suck up ghosts and money. There's a very creepy dollhouse in this mansion, which kind of spooked me a little bit, especially with that doll that spins her head around. The music feels like a faster paced Luigi's Mansion, and it kind of makes the place feel ancient, which is a good theme to have, especially with a mansion like this one. And the boss fight is very unique. If I had to sum it up in a few words, you have to fight stairs. Finally, number 1, Treacherous Mansion. This is the last mansion in this game, and it definitely gives you that last mansion vibe. This mansion is a museum. It has different exhibits to it. There's the Ice Age, Ancient Times, Jungle Times, and a train exhibit, which is kind of cool. A museum mansion is a very cool concept. I kind of wish this mansion explored more of, but it's alright. What we got was pretty good. It's easily the longest mansion in this game. There's a lot of backtracking in this mansion, but it's not really annoying, the backtrack, because the game gives you portals to navigate to each exhibit. So when the time is right and the mansion literally puts you on your toes in order to save the dimensions, because this mansion puts a lot on Luigi's plate. The portals can come very handy. The mission that makes you save the dimensions is a major boss rush. I wouldn't even say boss rush, it's an enemy rush. And it's one of those missions that can easily take more than one try to complete. But if you ask me, this mission is pretty fun. I kind of wish we had more boss missions like this. But this one set the scale high, like it set the bar really high. And it kind of forces you to grind for the poltergust upgrades, because I had to grind for the poltergust upgrades in order to beat this boss. And it forces you to get good with certain bosses, like those greenies with the sword and shields. And surprise, surprise, this mansion has plenty of bosses and sub-bosses, way more than the other mansions. And I just gotta say, this mansion is number 1 for this reason, man. Like, this mansion felt like Luigi's Mansion 1's mansion, but all the best parts of it into this one. you know, and it added more stuff, and it's easily the best mansion in this game. I have to say, the fact that Luigi's Mansion has multiple mansions was a nice touch, because it would have felt like more of the same if it was just one generic mansion like the original. So shout outs to you, Next Level Games. Make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any Luigi's Mansion content here on the channel. Thank you to the members. You guys put that pizza on my pepperoni, and those lovely people wearing the Mr. Awesome merch. You guys are number one. And as always, stay golden.